Good morning, everybody. It's Aaron from the QB Life. Man, it's a balmy 41 degrees on May 3rd here in Ohio. It's cold. I am out on a walk this morning instead of running on my treadmill. I went through man camp last weekend and it went a little hard and it got me a little sore. I've actually worked through it, but Monday was rough. Working out, definitely. Tuesday was a little bit better, and today I bet would be a little bit better, but I decided to go the walk instead of running. I'm gonna still head back to the garage and lift some weights here in a little bit, but I thought I'd get out and enjoy some fresh air, try to gather my thoughts, which is almost impossible. I'm always going all over the place. But last night I was doing some coaching and it was awesome. I was able to meet a gentleman that I've never, doesn't know me at all, doesn't know me from Adam. It just ran across me on a carnivore diet and is finding some great healing from type 2 diabetes like I have. His has progressed further than mine did, but he's getting healing. But you know, the normal suspects are happening where the doctors are giving him a hard time. You need to be on the statin drug because your cholesterol is high. And he said, LDL cholesterol of his was in the low, like 204, 209. I'm like, well, mine's like 4 something. They have him on diabetes medication. We talked about that and how essentially it seems like in the medical profession these days that type 2 diabetes medication is just prescribed to people to ensure that they can continue with the carbs and die slowly. I mean, he asked me, should I get off the medication? I said, well, I'm not a doctor. I cannot tell you to get off the medication. You know, as I was walking out here, it's like I started filming some of these broken down buildings here where I live. I live in a part of town that used to be big and gorgeous and booming, but a lot of the houses are trashed. They're broken down. There's like nothing. There's nothing. And I often think, like, how did it get to this point? How did it get to this point? Was it just neglect from the owners? Was it neglect from the government? You know, just raising taxes so high that you couldn't even pay for the property? Banking systems? What broke down? And part of that discussion I was having, he's looking for a doctor that knows more about a low carb diet. And I sent him to Dr. Sean Baker's website, and there's a whole list, and he's gonna start going down that list of doctors. Well, you know, from my experience looking for a doctor and even on that list, there's a lot of doctors out there, and you try to call them and it's like, well, I could see you in 9 months and it'll be this much money because we don't take your insurance. And so it's like, well, we don't take your insurance. We don't take your insurance. And the prices are high. But yeah, just that broken, I just realized how broken our medical system is. We live in a system where you go to the doctor and they just try to give you the medication. And sure, some people might have better doctors. There might be nurses that are doing much better jobs. But it's like, take this drug. Oh, should I do diet or exercise? Like, oh yeah, the normal stuff. You know, stay off the salt, lean meats, vegetables. And then you lose weight on a diet that is not their diet, if they even recommend you a diet. And then they're mad at you for losing weight. But I have a guy at work also that was showing me some of his labs and that kind of stuff, and his blood pressure is way high. He's like, well, they kind of said, you know, stay off the salt and diet. I'm like, did they tell you what kind of diet? I was like, no. How do I help you? I want you to track your carbs, your carb intake for 5 to 7 days. And he was like, well, how do you find out your carb intake? I was like, well, the United States government makes people put that on all the package. Every package has, you know, what they say the carbs are. And I quote that stuff. It's like, oh, they do? And I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, we'll see if he tracks it. I looked up the other day, the carb intake average for the United States of America is 250 carbs per day. Some diabetes regulation said don't go over 130. But for some people, 130 is still too high. They might just be recommending 130, maybe type 1 diabetes, because you need some carbs if you're taking insulin. And if you're on the medication, they might have you do that, you know, so you don't get your blood sugars too low. But yeah, just back to the guy I was talking to, he was looking for support. I think a lot of us are looking for support. I'm looking for support. Like, where do I go to for help? It's like, you need to hit up this doctor on the internet and this doctor. Well, a lot of them don't have time. I've got some messages through, but man, it's just, There is a great need out there right now for voices letting people know that they're doing the right thing. Geese! Every time I see geese, I'm like, I wonder what they taste like. But there's a great need for low carb, you know, proper human diet type doctors out there. And it's like, sure, you could just take one doctor's what they say and just run with it. A lot of people, I want to say, are skeptical, but they need more than that. They need more than just one lonely voice crying out in the desert. They need a tribe of people, and I'm thankful for my tribe of people on here that have helped me. You guys have really helped me navigate through a bunch of the bad information and just all the, lack of a better word, BS out there to, you know, find health and know what's important when it comes to health. And a lot of something that comes up all the time is like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Well, you know, I get sore sometimes when I go out and I try to act like a 20-something and compete. Hey, I did it. I lived, I'm not injured, and I believe I inspired other people to do the same, and that's, I mean, there's nothing more I can ask for. I feel also like we're a part of a system often in the medical field where the doctors take, you know, these Hippocratic oaths to do no harm. Do no harm, do no harm. But it's almost like do no harm to my practice is the most important thing. Do no harm to me, themselves. Yeah, I just said that. Because of the guidelines and how many rules and regulations are getting put on them. You know, some doctors just believe this stuff wholeheartedly. Other people are, you know, students. I'm not sure how many student doctors we have these days. Like people that are actually students and question status quo and without getting just ridiculed. Because the question these days gets you in a lot of trouble. Well, I'm questioning everything. I trust, but I try to verify it. How do I feel? I feel stronger than I have in a long time. I feel much better. And when I was talking to the guy yesterday, even though we got a broken system, a bunch of different voices, somehow he's been led to a carnivore diet. And he has dropped his A1C from like a 12 to a 7 something. Okay, he's got some more healing to do. Almost 70 years old. That's awesome. So even in a broken system, there's still healing happening. I'm like, how do you feel? He's like, I've never felt better. That has to speak volumes. And when there's a broken system, honestly, I thank God that people are still able to find healing and health. What is he, you know, what is that number for him? How many carbs and sugars does he need? Well, we need 0. Our body will make everything we need. But a little bit of carbs here and there probably doesn't hurt some people. I know that for a fact. But the fact that someone's on a health journey and taking it seriously, and since the doctors are about themselves, puts us in a position where we have to be about ourselves. Broken down system or not, we are our best advocates, but it's still frustrating as all get out. All right, well, this walk and talk kind of turned into a walk and rant. All right, I want to say thank you for everyone who watches these Kill We Live videos. If I earned your subscription today, hit that subscribe button, like this video, share this video with anyone that you think needs to go on a health journey or is on one. I mean, I'm just some random guy just trying to get my health back. Went to the doctor, they just wanted to put me on medication. They gave me no other course of action that I thought was sustainable. It's like, eating just meat's not sustainable. Huh? Don't knock it till you try, bro.